everybody. How are we? How are we? We're a little tilted today. That's how we are. But now we're getting there. We got the pillows, we got the back support, we got the blue on blue guys today. I'm feeling very prideful today. My eyes are itching. Though, gosh, does that ever happen to you ladies? When or any of my fabulous friends on RuPaul's Drag Race? Gosh, do you ever get like the itching in the corner from the glue? Feels like your eyelashes are gonna come out and you just want to rub them more than anything, but it's COVID-19, you're not supposed to touch your face. But I really want nothing more than to touch my face. We're going to send Diana a message because that's, you guys know by this now, by this point, I don't even know how many podcasts this has been. You guys know that I'm always fussing with my hair. So, what else is happening? Diet Peach is being drank. But today I filled up the old Starbucks cantina over here. Yeah, $22.95 for this nonsense. Is that a little ridiculous? That's a little ridiculous if you ask me. But whatever. God bless Starbucks. But I got 40 off, so it was fine. I bought it for somebody and then I kept it because I was thirsty. Oh well. These cups are really great though. I'm not plugging these by the way at all. These are like $3. Obviously it's the Diet Peach in there because, well, what else is Nikki Nights fueled by? I swear if I was a car, you could just pull open my gas tank, just Diet Peach, bam, bam, bam. I'd be running through Hollywood like a little speed demon. But no, actually on Hairspray, people always ask me, my God, what was in your coffee cup on Hairspray because you didn't stop moving? And I said, well, every morning I would get up and I would start it with, oh, and by the way, these cups are great. I just picked up one for somebody who deserves it, and they're amazing. They're great. They have these new dope ones for Pride. Dope. My father hates that word. Writing about it in my book. But yeah, they have these Pride cups. So it's nice to actually work for them right now, or be on leave, rather, I should say. I took 120-day leave to write my book. So, but it's nice to, work for a company that supports, the LGBT community. It's really nice. But on this show, you guys know that we talk about everything from what is in our coffee cups to what Gino and I talk about to, I'm sure you guys have maybe seen that episode. I hope the Three Stooges just went up today. Diana, Gino, and I's episode. And my gosh, we just laughed and laughed and laughed. We had the best time. But what I know you're asking, what was in the coffee cup though? Every day I would go to Starbucks and I would get a venti Americano. So in the fall it would be hot, and in the winter, and then in the summer it'd be iced, and because we were there for pretty much all 4 seasons, and yeah, 1.5 Splenda, and that was it. Let me ask Aarti Sequiera what's in her coffee cup. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. I might have to tell you that I'm really fangirling right now.
Ah!
I feel like I just turned on my favorite channel. I'm not kidding, Aarti Sequiera.
Thank you so much. That's very sweet of you. I like your eyeshadow.
I went a little bright today. I was inspired.
I like it. They're calling it, there's this makeup artist who I watch on YouTube whom I love. She's this British lady who does Kate Winslet and all those people. And she did it. I got the alert and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't wait until tonight when I get time to myself and I can watch what I want to watch. Yeah. And she did like this blue eye, and she calls it a cloud eye because she takes it all the way up to the eyebrows.
Oh wow, yeah, I did like a little something smoke. It's Pride Month, so why not?
Oh, I see. I get it.
It's funny. I'm weird. I like base my looks around my guests sometimes, and you just have like one of the most sunny dispositions I've ever met. So I was like, it's gonna go for Aarti for sure. It's blue.
I would do it. I gotta see if I have any of those colors. That's pretty.
We'll send some your way. CVS, Aarti. I live in CVS.
I know. I do. I love it too. It's actually kind of the weird thing about this whole pandemic is that things aren't coming in as quickly at the pharmacy and stuff like that. And so, like my color foundation, not always in stock and on a regular day. And now it's like absolutely not there.
Yeah, and I feel awful because every time I go in there, there's the sweetest girl that works there, the nicest girl. And she's always like, and I know what I'm going for every time. I'm one of those little women on a mission. Like
Yeah,
I know what I'm going in for. And she's like, "Are you looking for anything in particular? Can I help you?" And I was
yeah,
like, and every time without fail, and I want so bad to be able to be like, "Yes, this is what I need."
right.
But I know exactly where I feel so awful.
Oh no, you shouldn't. You shouldn't. I'm sure she has other people that come in and they're like, I don't know, what's that stuff you draw on your eyes? I don't know what that's called. And then she gets to do her highest joy.
Well, and also there's a Starbucks right, next to it. And I was just talking about Starbucks because I had to get a part-time job there,
Uh-huh.
benefits, exciting stuff.
Yeah.
And I was talking about my coffee that I used to drink on a set of Hairspray. What would get me going in the morning? What's like in your coffee in the morning? What's one of your favorites?
Oh, so I am very snooty about coffee. And that it happened like maybe 10 years ago. No, 8 years ago, I got like wicked snooty about it. So I used to be a Starbucks person, and now I'm like a single origin, like fourth wave coffee person. And so in the mornings, I go and find a coffee shop that has really great beans, and I get a decaf Americano. I usually get two because by the time I finished my first one, I'm really ready for my second one. So,
Yeah.
and they don't make big ones at these sorts of coffee shops. So yeah, I have two decaf Americanos when I'm on set, and with nothing in them, which is why the coffee beans have to be really good, right?
Yes, I get that. And honestly, what I at the store now, I've been trying something new because I'm like, well, let's venture out and taste the world.
Yeah.
So I've been doing a skinny caramel macchiato iced, half decaf with ristretto shots.
Oh, so that's a stronger coffee flavor.
Yeah, it's a different type of pull from the bean. The woman that I was working with, Debbie, was like, "I'm going to teach you about," because this guy came up one day and he said, "Let me get two double long shots," and I was like, "Why do I feel like I'm playing softball again? What is this language? Doubles and
Yeah,
what? I don't know what's happening."
yeah,
And she was like, "I'm going to teach you all about ristretto shots." I don't know. It's a lot. I thought I had to memorize a lot in acting. My God, no.
yeah. Coffee is a whole different world, and people are very passionate.
Yeah. What was a part-time job for you growing up?
Well, growing up in Dubai, it was actually really hard to find a part-time job because they have very strict labor laws about it. But one of the first things I did was there were two newspapers in Dubai, and each of them had like a youth pullout that would come, the day before the weekend. And so I wrote for it. I like found something to write about, and I went and wrote for it. And I have to give props to my mum. Actually, I haven't thought about this in a long time, but I grew up in Dubai during the Gulf War. And so that was the first time that I saw real news because they had CNN was coming in on our local TV station. We only had one TV station. And so I was like, uh, say what? Like I had no idea that news could be so thorough, so comprehensive, so um, straight talking. You know what I mean? That and it could tell you the truth about stuff, even if it was the ugly truth. And so that was when the light went on for me, and I was like, this is what I want to do with my life. And so that was kind of the first thing I did was um, write for this kids magazine in Dubai. Yeah.
That's so sweet. I love
Yeah.
that. That just fits you though. Like I just can see that, Like ay ay ay. And I watch Triple G. It's
Mhm.
my favorite show, Artie.
Oh, I'm so glad.
I've seen every single episode.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Every episode. Um I have had, Bo on and Troy Johnson
Oh my
and
goodness.
Justin, and we've had some chats, and you guys seem like you're having just the best time on that show.
We do. We really do. The thing about it is that we shoot it up in Sonoma County in Northern California. And so we have, and the crew has all left their families to come shoot. And excuse me, we leave, go up that shoot. So it feels like camp. I don't know if any of the guys said that, but it does. It feels like you're seeing your friends after a really long time, and so you get to catch up with them. You get such pure, unadulterated time with them, both on set and off set. And so it's like nectar. It's like pure and good and delicious. And so we talk about it all the time, how remarkable a bond it is that we all have, because it's special. You don't get that much anymore as a grown-up. You know what I mean? We don't get to go to camp anymore. And so you don't get that time where, unless you go on like a retreat with your friends or something, and you set that time apart. But this feels, I feel very, very, very hashtag blessed. But I do feel super blessed every time I get to go up there, because I don't think that I would have the kind of friendships that I do with all of these people if it was just shot in LA, where I lived until a few months ago. I think you go in, you do your job, and you go home. But when you're away, then you go in, you do your job, and then you're like, want to get some dinner, and you actually get to hang out.
That's Zac Efron used to say that Hairspray was like being at summer camp.
Oh, yeah.
When we all left, they asked what's the hardest part about making the movie, and we all said ending it, and he said because it was like being at a summer camp with all of your best friends.
Yeah.
And we very much, even on the weekends, we would dinners, and so we were always over at each other's houses, and it was just really nice. And speaking of houses, you just bought a new one. Congratulations.
First one.
Congrats.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, we never thought that would happen, because, my husband and I, we got married, and we were long distance when we got married. And so I was in New York and he was in LA, and then I moved to LA. So from the second I hit LA in like 2004, our dream was to buy a house. We just wanted to buy a house. We just felt like that's just the storybook, right? Of what you do. And my husband had very sweetly saved all this money for a down payment. And then, then pop goes the bubble, because you're like, oh, actually we need twice that to put a down payment on a house in LA. Yeah. So we kind of gave up on that dream. And after having children, I think we just were like, what are we doing here?
By the way, not just children, the cutest children I've ever seen. My gosh.
Thank you.
Mini Aarti Sequeras. Oh my gosh, you have like little twins. They're amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, they're really
precious.
They're really precocious. They're precious and precocious. And I want to maintain that, because I remember talking about, my friend is a psychotherapist, and one day she was just asking me, those kinds of questions. Yeah. And she asked me something about myself when I was a child, and I told her the story, and she was like, oh, you were really precocious. And I had to look the word up, because I didn't know what it meant.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, I had forgotten that that's how I was as a child, And so in a way, I think that's what's so valuable about, and it's not something that I do, but I really should, is writing things down, or even trying to remember as much as possible, is as a grown-up, you forget what you were. And so sometimes you don't feel the permission to be this thing that you maybe want to be, like I was like, no, I'm the very well-behaved, very polite woman, on set and stuff. And that is true. But when she said precocious, I was like, oh, I'm allowed to be that. I'm allowed to be loud. I'm allowed to be
gumption.
Yes, exactly. To be like full of vibrance. You know what I mean? Like I'm allowed to do that. I'm allowed to do that even if I wasn't that way as a child.
Yes.
But something in me was like, oh, it's in you. You don't have to push so hard. It's already in you. Just relax, So
exactly.
That was great.
And you and your husband are raising them with, I watch your stories, because I told you, Triple G just is everything, and of course the Food Network star rather. My mother and I watched it together. She is she is a big Aarti Sequiera fan. She said to me, I was in the kitchen the other day, and she goes, she's fishing, right? And I'm like, what's coming? We're going to go, what you going to ask now? She goes, when are you talking to Aarti Sequiera? And
Oh.
I said, it's coming up. She said, will you give her a message for me? I said, I will. She said, will you tell her that I just think she's so lovely and such a wonderful mom?
Oh my gosh, that means a lot. Will you tell her
Yeah,
that? Thank
because we
you.
watched your journey on Triple G, with having the babies, and
Yeah.
you give to this the charity for postpartum all the time.
Yeah.
We really admire you as
Thank
women.
you. Well, thank you so much. I got postpartum depression after my first, and then I got it again after my second. And I remember being like praying and being like, God, why would you let this happen to me?
Right.
And I don't hear God all that often, and I think that's just the way it should be.
Yeah.
But
I'm with you.
yeah, I think,
There are those times to have a talk with
yeah,
Jesus.
it's a less is more kind of thing. And
Right.
so I really felt him say, because I knew you'd go and do something about it. And
Yeah.
I was like, I think I just got my marching orders, So,
Yeah.
and I was always looking for something. Excuse me. I'm drinking the sparkling water, and I knew I shouldn't have, but it was just calling my name.
Oh no,
Um,
no.
I love them. I'm so hopelessly addicted to them. Um, I was always looking for something to sort of wrap myself around, and I wanted to have a really personal connection to it. And so, because then you're only going to do the best job possible if it's something that you really are connected to, so yeah, I feel strangely grateful for having had it, because I didn't get it that badly, but I did get it bad enough that I understand that it's a real thing. And it's a really weird, real thing, because it feels like someone else is like pulling the strings on your brain. You know what I mean? You're not in control of your emotions at all. And I think that's all mental health, but in particular when you're a mother, there's so much happening at the same time, and there is another person depending on you.
Yeah.
Like literally, if you're breastfeeding, like they die if you do not function. So it was a lot. So I'm really grateful to be out of it. I'm still on antidepressants for the second time, and but I'm curious right now about whether I'm okay, so I have to find a doctor and see if I can get off my antidepressants and see how I'm doing. But yeah, it's not something I saw coming for sure, but it's okay.
Well, I mean, I have learned, I have a personal experience with, mental illness in my family. I lost my uncle to suicide in 2008.
Oh.
And ever since then, my eyes have just been incredibly open to mental illness, and that it's very real and there is help out there. And I can't help but think of the women who are pregnant now in the quarantine, and
Yeah.
or have maybe given birth during the quarantine and suffering from
That's
postpartum.
true.
So the saying, reach out and check on your friends, is very real.
Yeah. That's true. Um, so if anybody is watching this and wants help, the way that I did it, and it was like a big step for me, was to go to postpartum.net. And if you scroll down, there's a warm line. They don't call it a hotline, they call it a warm line. And you call and you leave a message. And it feels very weird because you're just telling someone on a tape, I need help. But that evening, someone called me back, someone who lived in my neighborhood, and was able to tell me, here, there's a support group that's free here. I also know of 3 therapists that work on a sliding scale, all of this kind of stuff. And so that helps so much, because just even the fact that there was a woman on the other side of the phone who said, yeah, it sounds like you're going through a lot. I was like, it does? She said, yeah. To have someone just validate that for you in that moment is so huge, because you feel like you're crazy because you're the only one experiencing all of these emotions and all of these thoughts and stuff. And so if anybody is watching and you're worried about someone and it's postpartum specific, then call postpartum.net.
Well, I can tell you what I'm doing is right now, every month. Are you on Cameo?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to be, this month I'm giving a portion of every single Cameo to Trans in Color, which is an organization. And I would like to next month give to that organization.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, think that would be really fun.
That's very sweet of you. Yeah. Thank you so much. They'll
oh my gosh.
totally
You
appreciate
just
it.
inspired me because Aarti, I suffer from a condition called PCOS, and
I have it too.
I've been told maybe children aren't, in the future. And I'm like, I believe anything is possible.
Yeah.
So
yes.
I mean, and you inspired me, and you inspired me to cook too. Can I just say, I went hard on some whole wheat banana peanut butter muffins during quarantine. I used some coconut oil.
Yeah.
I was like, what's happening? I've never bought these products before in my life.
Good for you. Yeah, it's fun once you start experimenting. I think if you see it as fun, then you can take some of the pressure out. Excuse me, I've always loved to cook, but I never did savory food. I only ever did sweet food because I have a massive sweet tooth, and B, because of that massive sweet tooth, my mom didn't leave anything sugary in the house. And so I had to make it myself. I was like, this fat kid is not going without. Okay. So I would on Friday when they would take a nap on Fridays, because that was our day off, they would take a nap and I would go and bake. And then when they'd wake up, there'd be a big pot of tea and like baked goods for them to eat. Yeah, that was the way that I started. But the reason that I never did savory is because my mom is such an amazing cook that I was like, well, what's the point?
I saw you guys on Triple G together.
Yeah.
It was so sweet. And you won. She my heart. It was so sweet.
It was so funny. She was not nervous about the cooking at all. But when we went into the interview room, we were sitting next to each other. She had her hand on top of her hand like this when she was sitting down. And I was like, that's a weird position. And she said it's because her hand was shaking because she was so nervous. The interview part was what she was nervous about. The cooking part, she was not scared of guys. She was not scared of cooking. As we're walking out, she's like, let's kill him. And I was like, what in the world?
Yes. Oh my God. Yes.
It was good. It was good. And I think it's good for her too. I think, again, like you forget who you are and what you can do. And so whenever the good Lord brings those instances for you to remember those things that he's sown into your heart, you got to reach out and grab them, even if they're scary, because otherwise you're just going to continue in your little hamster wheel. So just like you doing hairspray, like that must have been big and scary, but you had to do it.
It was. I had a mentor at the time, Dr. Levy, who in high school, she used to say, just get out there and do it when I used to get overwhelmed. And when I found myself at the table read in front of 700, all of us on the cast and crew, and the first song was Good Morning Baltimore, I was like, oh boy. And what would Doc say? Just get out there and do it.
Yeah.
So, you don't know unless you try. And this quarantine, I don't know, it's really inspired me. I'm feeling things on a whole other level. I'm writing. And and I can't wait. Chef Bo has invited the Nikki Knights team down to Sanctuary.
That's awesome.
I don't know if he knows what he is asked for, though. I feel awful.
No. I guarantee there's nothing you could throw at him that he has never dealt with before.
Oh my God. I just, you guys just are so incredibly fun to watch, and thank you so much, because people say to me Hairspray has brought so much joy into my life, or it's it's that movie that I go back to that relieves some stress in the day.
Yes.
For me, it's Triple J.
Oh, thank you.
It really is. I mean it. So thank you guys. And
yeah. Oh my gosh, it's our pleasure. It's I remember, so I wanted to be a journalist and I went on to do that, and I worked at CNN for a little while, and my whole thing was that I wanted to touch people as much as possible by figuring out what was actually happening and shining a light on it. That was all I ever wanted to do. And it was somewhere in there was this sense of like, I need to do something with my life that is worthy, that is helpful. And so then when that career went away, I was like, oh crap, I'm a failure. I don't know what I'm doing. And And so the fact that I now get to do this and I get to hear things like that is really gratifying, because honestly, like, you walk on the set and you do this thing in this big box of a place, and then it goes out invisibly over the airwaves, and you have no idea whether it's landing, if it's doing anything. These days with social media, you obviously have a lot more sense of that. But all I have ever wanted to do was to be helpful. It's just like, I don't know if it's a me thing or an Indian thing or a Sequiera thing, but I just want to be responsible and I want to be helpful. And as if someone says that to me on my deathbed,
Well, having a good heart, Aarti Sequiera.
oh no.
Yes, and I saw that a mile away, and I thank you so much for your time. And
Oh, thank you, honey. Good
awesome.
luck to you.
Thank
I can't
you.
wait to see what's next for you. I want to hear what you're writing.
Yes, well, yesterday I said to somebody, this book is really going to come out, I guess, and people are going to read it. Oh no. I was like, oh. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, that's awesome. Good for you. Good for you. Yeah, roar. You have to roar.
I will. I'll roar for you. I'll see you later.
Okay, bye.
Oh my gosh, she's so wonderful. Aarti is like my favorite. When I see her on the judges panel, and of course when she used to be on there with my dear friend Chef Carl, the Cuban Ruiz. Oh, Aarti, he was just the best. Yeah, Carl. Now an alarm's going off. He was seriously one of the most incredible chefs, you guys, and just a gem of a human being. And Aarti, he is just, I know how close you guys were. I watched the show, obviously, and so yeah, he was awesome and a dear friend of mine. But we talked about some really amazing things, and Aarti is such a champion for postpartum depression. And like I said, I've, experienced it with my uncle, mental illness and losing somebody to some type of depression. So I take it incredibly seriously. There is help out there, like Aarti mentioned. And you guys, I'm always here for you. The DMs are always open. I say that, and I'm sure Diana's going, she's doing the Home Alone. No! But sorry, girl. But this episode is very much for my uncle. I don't talk about what happened with him often, but I think it's important for everybody to realize that while I am the girl who played Tracy Turnblad, I'm a human being, and I've seen some tough stuff, and this is just part of my story, and thank you for letting me share it. And Uncle C, this is very much for you. I love you and I miss you, and yeah, I love you guys. And I mean, you never have to miss me though. You could just go right over on Spotify, type in Nikki Nights, have a good old time, hear about the nonsense that we talk. I mean, I can only imagine now. I'm gonna go watch the Three Stooges episode with Diana and Gino, and oh goodness me, that's all I have to say. Goodness me. Till tomorrow, my friends. Stay well. Thanks for hanging in there with us while we hang out with you. I'm gonna go take my blue eyeshadow and my blue wall, and I'm gonna go out to the blue sky. It's a lot of blue today, but I'm feeling spunky. I'll see you later. Bye.